Welcome to Chocolate Cake for the Soul, a space to return to your truth, awaken your energy, and leave with deeper clarity. I'm Dewi, and I'm here to hold gentle yet powerful conversation on healing, intuition, and the unseen energy that shape our lives. Whether you're building a soulful business, navigating your inner wounds, or simply learning to trust your intuition again, you're exactly where you need to be. So find your favorite cozy corner and take a bite of chocolate cake for the soul together. Hi everyone! So today we are doing a business energy check. So let's begin. Let me set up the bubble differently. I am going to do a pink bubble with a yellow communication rose. I'm seeing you vibrating in more like a fuchsia pink. I'm gonna reach you from a soft baby pink with fuchsia sparkles. Okay, yeah, go ahead and say your company name.
So brand name is.
Okay, I'm seeing it vibrating in more like a yellow and green. And go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. So this brand is a service industry brand. It's a service-based business. So we really rely on our human resource performance to really perform and serve the customers. At first, I was feeling confident that that I would thrive to lead this company with my leadership style, because I'm feeling that with all my experience, I possess a good communication skill. I feel like I'm a wise leader, and my partners also feel that I'm a good leader. And to start off, I was setting up the foundation. We feel it's been going well with the foundation, with the kickstart and everything. But then after it's been operating for several months, I feel there was resistance or inobedience, or some people just being naughty and not following the rules at first. But then I feel like there is some toxic traits or toxic actions that who leads the people to like not listening to the leaders, not functioning well, receiving like complaints. And most of all, I feel disappointed, because how can we have these type of people when we actually haven't picked and selected the people quite well in the beginning. Right now, I feel confused. I don't know what mistakes done, and yeah, that's why I want to check with you the energy and if whether there are communication barrier in the company.
So thank you so much for your question. So I'm just gonna say what I see first, and then we can dive deep into your question. So when you say out your company name, the first thing that I noticed was when I put something as a symbol of a rose. Again, it's just a symbol, but from there, then I look at the energy of it. So when you say it out loud, what I noticed was I do see, like in a rose, there's the stem. It sort of looked like a flower. But where the bud needs to be, the flower part needs to be, there's a lack of flower looking thing. Let's just put it that way. It just looks like this blob of energy, and the color was that yellow and green that I saw. So that was very interesting. And when I say hello to that, like, well, okay, so what does that mean? Why is there a stem but no petals? I think that's the word. There's no petals. Why is it like that? And then it all makes sense when you explain the whole situation. So the petal is like the head of the rose, right? In a rose, that would be the head, and then the neck would be where it meets the stem, and then the stem would be the body, and so on and so forth if it's a person. So I see that there was a lack of, well, in that sense, it's more like an outline. If it's a rose, the outline of the petals is more like just a blob of energy. And it became clear when you started explaining what's going on inside the company. So let's take a look at why this is happening. So if I put up a communication trail, let's say from leadership to the team members, and let's see how it looks like. So when I say hello to the communication trail of how communication flows, the image that you showed me, it looks like an arrow, but the arrow is like a U shape with the head pointing this way. So if, let's say, from the top leadership, and then you give the communication, it's not going in a straight line, but it's going in like a U shape, but it's not an O, it's not a circle. It's just a U, and then it stops somewhere here. And for some reason, in the shape of the arrow that you showed me, the neck is thin. So from you give out the communication. Here is a bit thin. And then somehow at the back, it curved and it became fatter and bigger. That's the arrow looks like that. So let's see, why does it look like that? So I do see that when communication is passed to the team, somewhere along the line, the communication line is like small. It's like, it's not straight like this, it's small. So the information coming in is somehow squeezed in, even though it later becomes bigger again. But some information could be lost because the pathway is so small. I don't know why the pathway is so small, but that's how it looks like. And then from then on, once it goes through that small, narrow passageway, it goes bigger, and then the rest of the information can flow. But I think that's the crucial thing that I'm seeing, that there's that narrow pathway of how information is flowing. So I see that the first thing that pops up in terms of the communication and how that affects the whole space is that when information comes in, because it's squeezed through this narrow passageway, only a little bit comes out the other end. So think of it this way. Let's say your full information is this. This is the communication. But because only a little bit is squeezing out, so here, this part is still trying to be processed, right? Whereas this already comes out. When this comes out, the rest of the people here, they only receive part of it. But the rest of the information here is also very important. But because it's slow in being passed around, they didn't get the rest of the message yet. So it's like half information coming in, and they already react from that half information that comes in. So then this creates like a lag and almost like a misinformation almost, because they haven't heard the whole thing yet. They only heard the part of the thing and they already spread it, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's the first thing that I noticed.
So could that be the middleman does not perform?
I don't know how you pass the communication. If it's passed through a middleman, then yes.
Okay. Yeah. But what if some information is delivered directly?
That would definitely help a lot.
Okay, but then there were cases where we communicated directly, but then for example, the very end, the floor staff, for example, the floor staff said, okay, but then it's not 100% executed. Could that be like a middle thing as well?
So I see that this is different things. You're saying that now you bypass the middle side and then you just go directly to the thing to where you need to go and give the information to. And then when that's done, however, it's still not fully executed the way that you want it to. So when you ask this question, the first thing that I notice is this, like, let's call it chaos energy. It's brown color and it has like this hurricane. I see like a hurricane effect. Okay, what is this chaos energy and why is it there? Some part of the chaos energy I see is partly from competition. It's not always from your competitors. So competition can also be from internal, like within the internally, and also, of course, from the outside. So it's both. So I'm seeing that there's some competition energy there that is creating this chaos, almost like this internal whirlwind. So that was the first thing. So the second thing that I noticed was it's more of a growth period and a lesson around, I want to say boundaries, but boundaries is not the right word. When I first say hello to the rose was there, but I didn't see the outline of the petals of the rose. It was just a blob of energy. So even though in terms of energetically speaking, the rose was there, but the lack of outline is like a lack of boundaries. I know that boundaries is not the right word, but there's no that one line that shows this is the shape of the petal and this is the line of the petal. I did not see that clearly. So I see that that's what's happening here also in the company. It's like the leadership is there, the energy is there, but there's no clear outline. I don't know if this is making sense. There's no clear outline. And when there's no clear outline, the energy is not grounded properly as to how you want it to be. And it's like, you know what you want and you give your information to the team and you expect them to understand as well. But because there's no clear boundaries and rules and consequences and blah, 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 then they make it up as they go. Or they take that and put in, whatever they want to do, kind of thing. energetically speaking.
Okay.
So that's when you look at it again, I said square. Why is it a circle?
Yeah.
Because even though you say, it's four corners, you describe the square perfectly, but you did not draw out the outline of the square. The square is this centimeters, like this shape, this color, this block, blah, blah, blah. Like that was not specified clear enough. So then I thought, okay, then I'll just make a circle that is square-ish. And then you look at it, yeah, I asked for a square, not a circle that is square-ish. So it's something like that. I don't know if this makes sense to you.
Okay. I will think about it more. I will reflect about based on this. And how about the resistance happening
The resistance is from the competition energy.
from the competition? Ah.
So it's almost like, I don't know if this resonates with you. There is a picture that says being a leader means it has to look a certain way. And if you don't look a certain way, then you're not being a good leader. Or there's a fear that if you're imposing on certain things, then it makes you like they might dislike you, or they might say that, oh, but it's not fair according to them. But at the end of the day, being the leader, like being owning the crown, you need to do what's best for the company. And what's best for the company might not always be what is in their personal selfish interest. And sometimes it's hard to draw that line and still want to be well liked and well respected. So I think that's where some of the angst comes from, because you have this picture of it has to look this way, but it's not always pretty, unfortunately.
For the internal competition, is that occurring to everyone or just some of the people?
So I see it more, there's an internal competition energy, and that energy is creating this, like chaotic energy. And because of that chaotic energy, some people who might not even be in competition, but they got affected by the effect of the whirlwind. But it's not that everybody is in competition. It's not that. It's just that they got the effect of it.
So as a leader, what do you feel or see that I can do to make this internal competition situation better?
So what I see within yourself is, number one, I see in your third chakra this like push and pull angst kind of feeling. And this is where you struggle, because there are some information that is truth. Some you think is a lie, but you don't know where's the lie. So you're still sorting that out. And that's why it's giving you like this weird, almost like butterfly feeling, kind of, I don't know, weird feeling in your stomach. Once I see that you uncovered the real truth behind it and figure out which part is the lie, and I don't know which is which, I think that's for you to figure out, then it becomes easier and clearer for you, and you know what to do and how to take the action.
Yeah. That weird feeling in the stomach gave me a major drawback from the brand. I was so unmotivated to even think about it.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like a whole mess, and sometimes I feel regret on why I started this business in the first place.
So I see the regret comes from because now you have to deal with this that you've been putting to the side. Like eventually it will come up. Maybe it's through this brand, maybe it's through another business venture, but eventually it will come up because there's a lie in your space that you need to fully resolve. It's not fully resolved yet. And the lie is that's the thing that is making you, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Is that because you want to do one thing, but then something holds you back and says, but what about this? Then you don't feel good again, and you have that stomach, that weird feeling again in the stomach. So that needs to be resolved within yourself first. So forget about the brand, forget about the company, because it will show up in any other things anyway. If it's not this, that is, it will be something else later, because it's more of an internal thing that you need to resolve first.
What is that?
Is picture of what does a good leader look like? That is the number one question.
Yeah.
You have your pictures, and then you have what you think a good leader should look like, which is very different from your truth. So this is where you need to sort through all the different information and all these different pictures and all the different things that you read, or maybe you hear, or maybe you see on Instagram, a good leader must be like this. And forget about all of that. Find your truth and really look at this is what being a good leader looks like at this moment in time because of this condition. And it might be different in a different condition, but it's also mean doing the difficult things that you need to do, saying and taking the difficult actions that you need to take. And it might make some other people unhappy, but it's for the greater good of the company. It's not about you, it's not about them, it's not about, it's for the greater good of the company. And sometimes as the leader, you need to take that yucky action.
Yeah, maybe about the leadership. It directs me to the partnerships I have in
yes.
the businesses, right? I think in every businesses, I feel like I'm the a most in charge person wherever in the business. And sometimes I feel tired and inside of me, I question my partners like, hey, why don't you pick up some slack and work with me together? I
Yeah.
feel sometimes inside of me, I feel it's so unfair. And what do you see regarding that?
When I look at this question, what I was noticing is more around the information and pictures around responsibility. So again, this is another growth period topic for you. So one is leadership, and of course with leadership comes responsibility, so it's related. What does responsibility look like? And really dig deeper into the truth. So you have, again, the version of what everybody tells you, what the parents maybe, or the books teach you how it should look like, again with the shoulds. But really look for within yourself and find your own inner truth. Which ones are my responsibility and which ones are not my responsibility? And being a leader, what does that look like? Because there's somewhere in your picture, that being a leader means you have to put all the responsibility, you have to take care of everything. And that's actually not true, because then the company just relies on one person, which that is not a company. So it's really looking at all of that. It's more of like a programming and the lies that you believed, and really find your own truth. Seek deeper. I see that by doing this exercise, not only it will make you become a stronger and better leader, and also you can do so in a place where you'll be happy and content with being in that leadership role.
That's what I ideally want.
Yes. And that's the process that you're going through now. That's why all of this is happening, so that, I still need to work on this. I still need to work on that, because there's still that lie in your space that says it has to look like this. And it's not, because you're not happy. That's the truth. They're not happy. Doing it this way does not make you happy. So you have to work on that.
Is there any more reframing or reprogramming or blind spots, maybe?
It's not so much of reprogramming, it's more of sorting through. So really look at, does leadership means this? Does leadership means that? Does responsibility means this? Am I responsible for that? Just really looking at that. Of course, somewhere along the line, there's also your childhood programming, that will come up as you go and you discover all this information. But I see that secondary. I think now it's really sorting through first some of the information. Anything else?
I think that's it for now.
So if there's no more question, let me just give you a next step. Next step, coming up in a bright, like a highlighter pink. I see you journaling, and in the journal, I see there's 2 columns. For example, like what my responsibility is and what is not my responsibility. So think of an incident that happened and look at that and draw the line in which part is my responsibility and which part is not. Something like that. And I give you an example. For example, my responsibility is to tell you the truth. And there is not your responsibility to manage their feelings after they know the truth. You can say it kindly, of course, but then how they feel afterward is not your responsibility, because they need to deal with their feelings. You cannot deal with their feelings. So you have to know where is your responsibility and which are not your responsibility. And just write it out that way from all the incidents that happen. And then the part that you're not responsible for, you need to let it go and let them take responsibility, even though it might sucks. And the nurturing side of you would want to protect them from that. But then that's, again, taking back all the responsibility back to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for sharing this sacred pause with me today. If something in this episode stirred your heart or softened your edges, I'd love for you to subscribe, like, and share with someone you love, and leave a kind review. It helps this soul space reach those who need it most. Until next time, may you trust your inner voice, nourish your spirit, and treat yourself to something sweet.